This is the solution video for section 8.2, problem number 18. All right, so A says, use your calculator to estimate the points of intersection of f of x and g of x. All right, so first thing that you got to do is you got to get out your calculator and you got to graph these two things. All right, so I am going to bring out my calculator here. All right, and so we have, all right, f of x equals sine of x over 1 plus x. All right, so sine of x, close parentheses on that, divided by, and then don't forget about parentheses in the denominator, 1 plus x, close parentheses on the denominator. And then g of x is 0.3, so 0.3. All right, so now, remember, your mode must be in radians because you're using a trig function, all right? And so now we graph, and, well, we see that. Now, it's really not that easy to see, all right? So we want to make sure that we can actually see this, all right? And so what we want to do is we want to change our window. Now you can see 0.3, that's really close to the x-axis. So our y, min, and max need to be pretty close to the x-axis. So how about like -1 and +1? We're going to get pretty close to the the x-axis there. All right, what about the x min, x max? Well, if we hit graph here, right, we're going to see, well, there's an intersection point there and an intersection point there. So we could actually change our window a little bit further. All right, and so I'm going to make the x max like -4 and the -4 to +4. All right, so let's see that. So now, can we see those points of intersection much more clearly? All right, so now we see this one over here, which is fine, but it's not actually going to play a role in part B. All right, so now we want to find the intersection. So second trace intersect, so number 5. All right, first curve. First curve is y1, yes. Second curve is y2, yes. Now, do I need to guess? Well, yes, you probably should, because then you're going to give yourself the ones that you want. All right, so now this first one is close to like 0.5, how about, right? So 0.5, all right, that gives me this first intersection. So 0.450, comma, 0.3. Of course it's 0.3, that's the y value, right? That's g of x. All right, so 0.450, comma, 0.3. All right, so back over here, all right, I get 0.450, comma, 0.3, of course. All right, now let's go back to our calculator. All right, now let's find the other one. All right, so now once again, I do second trace, number 5. All right, first curve, yes, enter. Second curve, yes, hit enter. But now I need to guess something over here. So how about like x equals 2? All right, that's going to give me this one over here. So 2.013, right? We round to 3 decimals, so 2.013. All right, so back over here. All right, 2.013, comma, once again, 0.3, right? Now, there is that other intersection over there, so yes, we should be able to find it. All right, so I do second trace, number 5. All right, so first curve, yes. Second curve, yes. Guess. All right, how about like -1.5? That's close to over there, right? So we can get that value, -2.630. All right, so -2.630, comma, once again, 0.3. But that one isn't actually going to play a role in the next part. All right, so B says, if the region bounded by F and G, right? So if I look at that graph again, right, we're just looking at this region here, all right? So I'm going to change my window so we can look at that a little bit more clearly. So how about like 0 to 4 and then like 0 to 1, right? So now that region is going to be a little bit more clear there. All right, so that's the region that is bounded by those two graphs. All right, so I'm going to draw that here. All right, I've got this curve coming through like that, and then I've got this horizontal line, and so I've got this region. All right, I am going to take that region and rotate it around the x-axis. All right, so rotating around the x-axis right here, you can see that there is clearly a gap between the region and the axis of rotation, and so this is going to mean that we want to use the washer method. All right, so washer method says pi times integral of parentheses with respect to, well, what? So in this case, it's going to be an x. Why? Because we are going around a horizontal axis, right? And so a dx is perpendicular to the horizontal axis. All right, continuing over here, I have big R squared minus little r squared, all right, and then with respect to x. All right, so big R. Which boundary is furthest from the axis of rotation? It is f of x. So we are going to say what? So we're going to say f of x minus the axis of rotation, which is 0. Now, sine of x over 1 plus x. That's perfect. That's right there. All right, minus 0 squared. Then little r is g of x. So we could put g of x minus 0 squared, right? And now we're integrating from what to what? So we're integrating from the left to the right, and so we already found those points of intersection, so it would be 0.450, comma, 2.013. Right, now, is this an acceptable answer in terms of setup only? Absolutely, right? F of x is given, g of x is given, so put those in there. Now, it would be just fine to write pi times the integral from 0.450 to 2.013 of sine of x over 1 plus x minus 0 squared. Of course, you don't even need the minus 0. Minus 0.3 minus 0 squared, right? And then dx. Of course, you can drop the minus zeros. All right, now let's go ahead and calculate this. All right, so we're going to go back to our calculator. All right, so now I'm going to start off. I'm going to go to my normal calculate screen. All right, so I'm going to put pi. All right, then I have math 9, right, the integral. Okay, so now I'm going to take f of x minus 0 squared. All right, so you can type that in, or let me show you a really nice thing to do. All right, you can take vars, y vars function number 1, y1. We've already graphed that, so it's already typed into y1, so y1 squared minus, well, y2, right? So vars, y vars function number 2, y2 squared, right? So y1 squared minus y2 squared, comma, with respect to x, comma, 0.450, comma, 2.013. Close parentheses on the integral. All right, so now I calculate, and I get 0.283. So approximately 0.283.